Napoleonville in rural Assumption Parish. We are right along the side of Louisiana Highway 1. LA 1 is known as the sugarcane corridor. Sugarcane harvest is set to begin in about 30 days, and Louisiana Highway 1 will see hundreds of thousands of tons of sugarcane moving from the fields to the mills. But farmers all across southeast Louisiana were impacted by this storm. This week in Louisiana Agriculture's A.J. SABINE, along with intern Ryan NAQUIN, made their way into St. Landry Parish to see how grain producers there were impacted by Hurricane Gustav.
This hurricane hitting us directly is probably some of the biggest devastation that we've seen, or I've seen in the 20 years I've been farming.
Joey Olivier looks through the tattered remains of his 600 acres of September corn here in St. Landry Parish. Hurricane Gustav's relentless winds and torrential rains twisted and destroyed more than 40% of this corn. The lifelong grain producer says Gustav made landfall at the worst possible time, in the middle of harvest.
Sure, it hurts. You know, we've been doing all this, and there's a lot of inputs in the crop with a potential for a small margin of profit. The risk really outweigh what we get for our crops, and when you have a big loss like this, it sets you back for a few years.
Up until the very last second before Hurricane Gustav threatened Joey Olivier's entire operation, he was in the field trying to harvest his corn, rice, milo, and soybean crops. But with no place to deliver his beans because grain elevators had shut off because of the storm and his grain bins already full, Olivier had no choice but to dump his entire crop of soybeans in this shed.
I have 600 acres of corn look like this. In fact, I had 4 crops ready at one time.
Tell me about that. You get the corn?
Well, normally I harvest milo, and then I'll harvest rice, and then I'll harvest corn, and then I'll harvest my Group 4 soybeans. Well, being we've been having rains for the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's delayed, pushed back all my harvests. So when my milo was ready to harvest and I couldn't harvest, it pushed me back a week, and then it pushed me back another week. So I had rice ready, had corn ready. Obviously, it couldn't be all harvested at one time. And then we're looking at 5 days before a major hurricane hits us, so I had to decide.
Olivier got behind the wheel of his 4x4 to assess the crop damage left by Hurricane Gustav. Soybeans were shredded by nearly 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This live oak, a landmark here for more than 100 years, was literally ripped from the ground. At 42, Joey says this hurricane has him thinking about his future in agriculture.
Now I need to be careful about putting investments out, how long it's going to take to get those investments, risk management of my money out there. And this hurricane makes you take a big look at, you know, how much you're risking every year.
Olivier and his family will never forget the big storm with the little name. In St. Landry Parish, I'm A.J. SABINE for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.